Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
Enough of that lovey-dovey stuff.
Yes.
You
Even
know,
though this is our Valentine's episode.
This is our Valentine's
Day
episode.
week.
We're recording early so we can go do the boo stuff. And but let's get all that lovey-dovey stuff out the way so we can talk about the lovey-dovey stuff on this week's episode of The Bachelor and what we like to do around here. You know what I'm saying? Because it's that time to talk about The Bachelor on our show. Yes. But before we get talking The Bachelor YouTube, I'm going to need you to go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content just like this. And if you just did, oh man, I just got to say, huge shout out to you. Woo-wee, air horns for you. Oh man. You know, this is the point in the show where we have to shout out our comment crew from YouTube. Everyone that leaves a comment on there gets a shout out. So shout out to the Nancy Drew crew, of course. We got Catherine Ann, Chelsea Allen, Kathleen Kent, Marion SP. What's up? I think we're just gonna induct her into the Nancy Drew crew
It
because
seems like the Nancy Drew crew was good with that.
yeah,
so.
they got their arms wide open, you know, and I really appreciate the love that they be showing. They're the leaders of our community right now, so you know, I just appreciate them like welcoming new members because we do got new subscribers and everything. So it's like it's really cool to see the growth. I mean, it's not like huge exponential growth, but who knows, man? One day we'll just wake up and there'll be like 1,000 more like subscribers or something, and that's just the way YouTube works. But we in the long game here. So shout out to the Nancy Drew crew, and of course Marty's on there, you know, repping. So we love you too, Marty, aka Mommy.
I know. Well, you got to see her, so she had a.
Yeah, I mean, she's, you know, a diehard fan, you know, so that's what's up. So yeah, if you want to get a shout out on the next week's episode or on YouTube, or if you're watching this right now and you're like, how do I hear my name? How do I hear them say me? All you got to do is just write a comment on this video that you're watching right now. Give us a thumbs up or something and just say, yo, I subscribe to you. You guys are the best. I can't wait to, you know, follow along on the journey, be part of this new future Bachelor family. I found you on YouTube, whatever it is. We love y'all. Leave a comment below. Now with that out of the way, this week's Bachelor, week 4, we got a little bit of drama in there. It's just kind of you know, what'd you think? Where do we start?
So we start with Jesse coming to the girls in the mansion saying, there's not a date today because, you know.
Zach's not here.
Zach's gone because you're joining him in the Bahamas on this international love journey. Pack your bags, bitches. Let's go. And then they proceed to almost completely
Black Friday him. That's what I'd like to say.
Stampede over him as they go and toss all their shit into their bags. And they're on their way to the Bahamas. And they, of course, have to show us a gratuitous shower scene. I don't know if they're going to have to keep this up every week. I am sick of them. I'm over
Why, though?
it.
You know, Zach's a snack.
So, yeah.
Zach the snack.
That is what they were chanting. Still, I just hate the shower scenes. I hate them so much. Also, they kind of did them dirty in that opening shots of, like, Bahamas and stuff. Like, they having the cheesiest, like, Hawaiian kind of shirt and shit. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like...
I mean, I got to be honest. I feel like that's what he would throw on if, like, they were like, all right, you pick one of these shirts. And he was like, that's the one. Yeah, but I mean, also, like, I was waiting. Like, I was like, we're like T-minus like 2 minutes from all the girls screaming his name. You know, every time they go somewhere, it's like, Zach!
They have to stand on a balcony and scream. Yeah. And you just have to think anybody in, like, the resort or wherever that they're staying has to be, like, just fucking annoyed, you know? But they must just, like, really have to, like, buy out the majority of it for that to not even be the case. Because they seem to have, like, that whole pool area to themselves. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure any hotel would want to host The Bachelor for, you know, a couple episodes. It's good. It's good. And they get their name on the credits or something, I'm sure.
Right.
So, and a nice little check. But yeah. So we're in the Bahamas. The girls seem very excited to be there. How do we get it started?
So obviously everybody is like freaking out. They know that there's going to be 3 dates, 2 one-on-one dates, a group date. Everybody is feeling like, feeling the pressure for a one-on-one date. That people like Greer and Anastasia are feeling behind, and people are just feeling like, they had strong connection at the beginning and they want to make sure that they're still there. So everyone starts to sort of spiral a bit or like get upset when date cards come out. So the first date card comes out and Kat gets the one-on-one date and it says, how deep is our love, whatever. That's when I think it was Greer who cried that she didn't get it, because she was all like, I got the first impression rose and I feel like I haven't really gotten enough time after that. Like, what's going on? Like, blah, blah, blah. So people are, feeling some kind of way. And even Anastasia, I don't know how we say her name. They like showed them like when the rest of the girls are hanging out during Kat's one-on-one date, like at the pool, she's kind of going off about how she feels like she's not in the top girls, and that, she feels worried about their connection. So that kind of like sets the stage for some of the behaviors we'll see out of her.
That's how like there's so many beautiful women on this show, is that like beautiful women are like really spiraling,
Right.
And it could go one of two ways. It'd be like they spiral and they end up leaving, or they spiral and they become the villain. And Anastasia is falling in in the latter realm. And I mean, you don't really see that at first. You just think that like maybe she's, just falling behind or quiet or whatever. But then we get to
we'll get to her more in a bit. But she that definitely sets the scene for like some of her behavior. So Kat, they go on their date. It's a lot of boat time, a lot of touching, feeling, making out on this boat, some awkward dancing on the deck. And then they do eventually go snorkeling for a very brief amount of time that we see on the television screen. So they actually fulfill the date card. And they seem like they have just like a lot of physical chemistry. Like I feel like, they're all over each other the entire date.
Well, I mean, Zach is, it doesn't matter how good looking you are. Sometimes you get around somebody and you're just like, you got that imposter syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, right. I know I'm the Bachelor. I know I'm obviously good enough to be that, but like this girl, like, in his eyes is considered a model. Like, she's like that beautiful. And like, why does she like me?
I know, he's like, why does she like me? He almost like, I was afraid that he was almost going to take it to like why is she even single level? And I was like, brother, don't do it. Don't do it. But because I feel like that's like the most annoying question. Like, I feel like a lot of women get that on like, how are you single? Like on dates and shit. And it's like, shh. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Well, break that down a little bit though. Like, what does that supposed to mean?
I just feel like it just feels like so... It feels so annoying to hear that, like, on a date, like, how is a girl like you single? And it's like, it kind of like discounts like your ability to make decisions that are good for you as well. It just like kind of discounts like standards, because it's all like, I'm not going to just be with anybody just because I'm hot or whatever, or amazing and whatever. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to like be snatched up by whoever, walks by. Like, that's not, the case. Yeah. It's like, I have standards too. Like, yes, I'm sure plenty of people want me, but,
Yeah, I see two standards. Things also, just to piggyback off that. It's like, one thing, it's like, it's almost like a line that guys say, like, to try to prop you up. Right. And then, like, the second thing, it's also like, they're prying to see what's wrong with you.
Exactly. That's the other part. It's all like, what, are you crazy? Like, like that's like, what's the catch?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's not I was worried that that's the way he was going to go, but I guess he went more into the imposter syndrome situation, which I guess, sad for him, better for the overall situation. But
yeah, I mean, that's more of an F-boy like tactic anyways. I don't see Zach really,
No.
falling in that. So yeah,
No.
I mean they're doing their awkward dancing on the boat. They go into the dinner portion. Like what kind of comes out of that?
The dinner portion, Kat really like kind of like keeps going on and on in her little confessional interview saying how, he comes from a traditional family and she doesn't want to be judged, blah, blah, blah. But all we really get out of that in their conversation together, because like she kind of approaches it that way to him too, being all like, I just don't want you to be scared of whatever. And he's like confused face, like scared of what? And she just says how, her and her mom had a like really tough relationship and that there was periods of time where she didn't live with her. And so that seems it's just vague enough to know that there's obviously mommy issues there, which Gabby made kind of like her whole thing on her season and even when she was on Clayton's season. So I wonder if like we're trying to like not fully go all the way in and also like what she wants to or doesn't want to actually say, just because it might look a little different. But
I thought it was like a political thing at first. Like it was, I don't know why I got that sense or something. Like it's like I don't know, he's more traditional or something.
The traditional made it feel like, I was all like, is she going to just be like, my parents are divorced? Like, that's kind of like where I was like first thinking, because I was like, I don't know, because like I wouldn't be scared. Like if I'm going up to somebody who's traditional, like if that's like the political thing, then I just don't think I'm going to vibe with them, because
that's probably why I was thinking that, like, because yeah, just like that. Like, it's like, if your political ideals or something like don't align, because I know
I feel like that's not what she was phrasing, because
okay.
I mean, obviously it wasn't, but
I like refer back to like when he was in the fantasy suite with Rachel and stuff. Like I felt like there was some connection to that conversation or something that she was maybe alluding to, but maybe not. But he ends up giving her the rose. Like, I mean, I was very vague. Like, I was very confused by that dinner date. But obviously, he's smitten with her, so she gets the rose. And yeah, I mean, where do we go from there?
So then we get the group date card. The group date is more of like a chill like beach Bahama barbecue hangout situation. Like they're going and hanging out with like the locals and like they're having like a big cookout and like they're playing games. And but the thing is, like, honestly, I think this is brutal. They brought Gabby on this date and I guess Gabby is allergic to shellfish, and like a lot of, I mean, they're in the Bahamas, so a lot of the food that's being cooked up at this cookout is like shellfish and stuff. And she's like getting visibly upset because she's like, I can't even kiss Zach because he's ate shellfish. So like she's like that allergic, which I'm like, damn, that sucks. So, and it's just funny because like she kept presenting it as being like, I can't even like fully put myself out there because like of all this shellfish and like whatever. She's like, so I have to try to figure out a way to like,
that could have been her way.
I know.
She could have been like, whatever, like I can't eat this, like, and he would have like tried to figure out a way for her to eat something or whatever. And
I know, instead he was just throwing pieces of shrimp into people's mouths.
And instead of kissing, they could have, given each other a little back massages or something. I don't know.
Or maybe they could have made up a secret handshake.
A secret handshake. I love that idea. That would have probably, see, people just need to diversify their thinking a little bit, get a little innovative, like,
because then you have a leg up or a hand up, I guess, over the other girls.
This girl's on fire.
Because then you have to, like, it's like your inside joke. So
yeah, no, totally. But yeah, so what's supposed to be a dramaless little gathering here, of course, doesn't turn in that. And as we talked about before, Anastasia is starting to become is really putting herself out there, and it's getting on the nerves of some of the ladies.
Yeah, so I guess which we all knew this was never going to work out, but I guess all the women agreed to share time because they all were expressing how they felt like, time was precious and all this shit. So they all kind of agreed to share time, and they were like going to be going about it in supposedly a very like pragmatic fashion. And Anastasia, whoever, she decides to go hard in the paint when they're doing the limbo game and asks for a kiss for good luck. And you could tell he's all like, eh. And he like is like, kiss on the cheek. And then she's like, okay. And then immediately after that, she pulls him to go talk to him.
Wait, why did he swerve her like that?
I don't know. I feel like...
I mean, she took it like a G. Because I was like, ooh, and then like it didn't feel awkward.
Like, damn, I don't know if like he felt weird about doing that in front of like the other girls because like didn't give all of them kisses, or I don't know if he was already like starting to like not feel Stassi. Maybe he wasn't. Who's to say?
I mean, she's beautiful, like, you know.
I know she's hot for sure. So she grabs him. They go talk for a while. Meanwhile, you know, the other girls are like, oh, shit, they're talking for a while. Are we just going to start, like, going in and grabbing him? Like, is that how we're going to do this? And Kylee, who we've barely seen on the screen, is all like, yo, I haven't really even been able to talk to this dude in, like, a week. I need to get in there. Like, if that's what she's going to do, like, then I'm going to just try to get in there, too. And so she even takes off her little shorts cover up, makes sure she's just in her little bikini. And I was like, smart move, Kylee. And waltzes her way over to ask to talk to him. And, like, you know, does the typical, may I steal him? And, of course, Stassi's like, it's all like, could you give us, like, a few more minutes? And, like, Kylie's all like, is it like, you know, like, can I steal him? Like, is it okay? Like, you know, you guys have been over here. And like, Stassi's like, just like a minute more. And this is when, you know, like, so they do that a couple times back and forth. And so Kylie's like, well, I don't want to fight you on this. Like,
fatality.
I want to fight you on this.
And Anastasia is like, I definitely don't want to fight you. So I'm going to go. But I mean, like, you know, while that's going on, because it's so awkward and cringy and stuff, like just the way they didn't want to.
Even Kylie's all like, I'm sorry, I'm like really awkward at this, but I like, you know, girl, it's like you've had your time. It's like, it's our turn.
Well, like Kylee was already getting like annoyed with Anastasia. She thought she was going, you know, too hard or something like that. But like Zach is just sitting there like looking at the ground. Like
Zach's like, I don't want to insert myself.
Yeah, like why can't he? Because this is obviously, if he wanted a little more time with Anastasia, or if something, he would be like, can we just
be like, give us a minute.
Yeah, I'll come find you in like 2 seconds, or like, you know, or Anastasia, like, you know, I'll come find you in a little bit or something like that. But no, he just like sits there quietly and lets them like figure it out.
And then when they figure it out, you know, he's all like, I'll talk to you, like, I'll see you later tonight. I hope to see you later tonight. And she's like, yeah. And, like, so then him and Kylee talk briefly. And then, like, you know, the rest of the night kind of goes the way that you expect that to go. And they go to... they start showing, like, Anastasia going around. Oh, yeah.
And, like... saying that like Kylee wanted to fight her or something like that.
Yeah, being like, I was so scared. That felt so unfair and so scary to me. Like, I don't want like why would she say that? And like, of course, she's getting like different people on her side. And so then, you know, Kylie's coming back and like explains the situation from her side. And then the other girls are telling her like, oh, you know, she was saying that you were going to fight her. And you could see Greer's trying to play both sides of the fence during this whole thing, because she's talking to Stassi and then she's talking to the other girls and whatever. And Kylie's like, no, I wasn't trying to fight her. I just wasn't going to get into like the bickering back and forth. Like,
which totally was what the vibe was. Like, why do you think Anastasia was doing that?
I just think Anastasia like didn't like that somebody actually like fired back at her, saying like, you know, one more minute. And so she was going to feel however she was going to feel, and like was going to just, I think she just the kind of girl who's all like, oh my God, how aggressive. Like, especially because when she was like in her little interview after, she's like, that felt so unfair to me, which I was like, how is it unfair that somebody else is wanting some time when you also grabbed this man from the activity that you all were doing to talk to him? Like, I don't think that's fair. It all works that way. Like, you did the same thing that she did. You would have done the same thing. Like, there's no thing that's unfair. So I feel like, you know, she felt like it came at her that way. Kylee was like, no. And Kylie's just feeling awkward and whatever. And so, like, then they're both, like, feeling some kind of way as they head into the after party portion of this group date.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of boils into this, and like what ends up kind of transpiring.
Well, at the after party, like obviously like Kylie's more in her feels then, because she's all like, why are you going around telling girls that I was trying to fight you? Like, that's not what I was trying to do. Like, I was feeling awkward about even like interrupting in general, but like, you know, we all want our time and like blah blah blah. And like Anastasia is like all like, you know, like, it was just miscommunication. It was just miscommunication. Not really, which it was. Like, I feel like then Kylee was going hard into her, and she was all like, it was just miscommunication. But then it's like, then she didn't need to then double down on what she had been saying when she did, kind of like telling all the other girls. And so Kylee does what we usually do not encourage on in our commentary. Mm-hmm. If she goes and when she spends her time during this after party with Zach, she brings up the situation. Me, like, I felt kind of awkward interrupting, and I don't know if you like observed, but it was just kind of like a weird dynamic that happened between Stassi and me, and like the whole like I guess she was telling people that I was trying to like fight her and like whatever, and then she drops the whole like, you know, I worry about like her because she has like told some of us how, you know, we're all gonna gain like 50,000 followers when we leave here and like that, you know, whatever and stuff like that. And so like Zach is all like, she said what now about Instagram followers? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, she pulled out the red flag, like, you know, had it in her back pocket. And I mean, she used it. Like, it's a strategy. Like you said, we don't recommend it, but if you're on the right side of it, and, you know, I truly believe Kylie's like, I mean, they're all probably good-hearted people, but like Kylee, you know, seemed like she was pretty genuine in her pursuit of Zach, and, you know, didn't really have like ill will in like
and
specifically.
then she even cited other sources of people, other witnesses that heard this go down, because she's all like, if you don't like, I'm not trying to like just start shit to start shit. Maybe you are, girl, but like, she's like, if you want to talk to other people, if you want to talk to like Charity and stuff, they were there too. Like, you know, I just want what's best for you. Like, and I didn't want to make something that was more like awkward already, more awkward, blah, blah, blah. And so Zach's like, what the fuck? This is the last thing I want. Like, I don't want to be like with these women who are like pretending. Obviously, he's still like so hurt by the whole Rachel thing, like being a different person, that he's all like, I can't have these girls saying these things to my face and then meaning something else behind my back. And so he does like, he pulls some of, I think, Charity and some of the other girls, like when he's talking to them, he kind of asks about it, and they do confirm the story. And then he pulls Stassi, and she like is all like, I have a question for you. Are you here for me? And she's like, yeah. And
how do you feel about Zach's like approach of like saying like he always does this thing where he's like, you know, it's come to my attention that someone here is trying to fuck me over. And, you know, so with that being said, Anastasia, would you like to come talk to me? Like, he does that. Like, it's like, there's no like, you know, subtlety.
I think he needs to be a little, he like tried to be more subtle with it with the Christina thing. I think with this one, it wasn't as subtle. And I'm like, but I think it was caught her more off guard. But yeah, I don't know, like that to me feels like almost like the over press training they did to him, like with this show. I wonder if they're all like, you gotta like sit and you gotta like, you know, let the girls know what's happening or like whatever. But I think I
can't tell if I am liking this or not yet. Like I have to see the full season to come back on it, because like there's something about having a villain for an episode and then him slaying the villain by the end of the episode, you know? I
mean, I think the part I like about Zach the most as the Bachelor, because like I was not excited about him as a Bachelor, is that he truly knows what he wants. He has some set standards and he is not budging. He is not like, he's not gonna let. And I kind of want to know, like, what he had to do with these producers to let that happen, because, like, it very easily, you know, they very easily could have been like, no, we need you. Don't you want a seat? Like, whatever. They could have been manipulating the situation more. And it feels like we're actually seeing him like fully like knock down people. Cause like, I mean, we do know some bit of like who some of his top people are, but I feel like I don't have like a very high level view of like, okay, these are like his top 4. Like, I think he still is decently playing the field, or at least we just don't know enough about like what he really wants in that aspect. We know like things that he does not want, but I feel like we don't know what he really wants besides a best friend. We know that. But yeah, so I agree with you that I'm not exactly sure if I hate it or love it yet, but I do like the fact that he is, you know, sticking to his red flag list, it seems like.
Yeah. Also, like, it did seem weird, like, when Anastasia's, like, defense was, you know, I'm here looking for my best friend. She's obviously caught on to the buzzword.
I know. I was all like, real convenient that you said that, you know?
Right. So, but at the end of the day, like, it just sucks because, like, you know, they're all on Instagram. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're all wanting like, followers. That's why you're like, you know, it's part of being on a show. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like to act like we don't have social media or like some people just don't care about it. Like,
well, and she did say like in her explanation to him and stuff, either this time or at the cocktail party at the rose ceremony, she does either one of those times. She says how, you know, yeah, I work with these brands. Some girls were asking me questions about whatever brands I work with. Like, I'm proud of like what the life I've made for myself, like with these things. Like, so I was answering their questions, which like, yeah, like if that's already your MO and you know that you're gonna leave here doing that, I think that is like, you know, I think that just needs to stick as like the underlining. Everybody knows that. I don't think she should have ever said, you know, well, the 14 girls, the top 14 girls are going to leave here with 50K. Like, the numbers shouldn't have been brought up if that was what was actually the case. Because I think that's where you get into tricky territory, is where you're just really quantifying your time being there by, like, you know, follower amount.
Sure. I mean, but it's just, like, not that hard these days with people like Bachelor data and stuff, like, you know.
All right.
But they had her, like, super say, like, aspiring influencer or something like that on her.
That's
under
hilarious.
Her name. Yeah, they were really messing with her towards the end of that episode. But yeah, I mean, I thought she did decent in trying to explain herself, because it is like some hearsay. It definitely could be something taken out of context, you know.
Right.
I didn't really think it was damning. But, you know, so yeah, I mean, what ends up happening of it?
Well, so the group date rose goes to Ariel because him and Ariel spent a lot of time vibing it out.
Like right now, Ariel, Anastasia, since Brianna left, like Anastasia and Ariel are like my favorite ones. You know, I'm not even talking about like who I think is going to like win or, you know, be at the end, but they're just, you know,
Ariel is just funny and cool and has like a nice, cool, dry sense of humor, and honestly is above any of the bullshit that happens. Yeah. She just like kind of comes in and is like, blah, blah, blah. Like, hilarious. Yeah, I love her.
Bombshell.
Yeah, she's hottie.
Yeah. So, I mean, she deserved that rose. I thought, like, you know, she killed it. I honestly think that they would make a great couple, actually.
Me too.
Yeah, good for her. Then, you know, how did the other girls feel about not getting the rose?
They definitely were upset. I think, you know, Stassi thought that might be her way to, like, you know, win back or be solidified. She goes and cries to Greer for a while after, like, you know, Zach leaves. And I think Kylie's just freaking out because she's like, was it all worth it? Did I even do the right thing? Because, like, now, like, you know, I could be screwing myself over, too.
Yeah, because, like, she's scared of the blowback.
Yeah.
You know, what Anastasia could do to her. What she, you know, she's, like, scared of the retaliation.
Right.
So, yeah, where do we go?
So we have our one-on-one date with Brooklyn, and honestly, they did pick a really good one-on-one date for her. She, you know, does rodeo, like, stuff, like she's a roper, like all that kind of shit, and they picked like an ATVing date for them, and then they hung out in the ocean, whatever. So, definitely like a more fun, down and dirty kind of date. And like he even like says how he's like, I thought this would be the perfect date for you, blah blah blah, which shows intentionality, which we love to see. And they seemed like they had like a really great fun time talking, hanging out, doing like the fun activity. And then
for some reason the vibe I got with her going on this one-on-one date, because I feel like, I don't know, if you're gonna have 2 one-on-one dates in an episode, do they usually have that in an episode?
I mean, we did last week.
Yeah. So, okay. So if you have like a one-on-one date, you have one that you really like, but then you have one that you got to like try, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like she's the one that like he was maybe not really thinking about and being like, cause it's an
opportunity. She's the only after the final rose person left.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think it's also an opportunity to let someone go without it being a rose ceremony. You know what I'm saying? So you get like one final chance to kind of see if this is something. And I don't know. That was the feeling I got from her going on this date. Because, there really hasn't been too much chemistry between them, I feel like, that we've seen. But yeah, but she has been pretty vocal in the house and like, like someone that's been getting some screen time and stuff. So it's good to see her, get her date and stuff. So they have their first part. We go to commercial break and we come back. It always catches my attention when like a black screen pops up. And did you notice last episode they were doing some stuff, like before I get into that, last episode they were doing like these before commercial breaks, like what you were going to see the next after the commercial break, that like I hadn't seen that before, where they're like,
did they do that every I don't know if I noticed that every time.
I did notice that, where they were like showing scenes.
They did, because I remember fast forwarding through one of them, but I don't know if they did it every commercial break.
I was wondering why they did that. Like, were they filling up time or something?
I don't know, maybe.
Interesting tactic. But yeah, anyway, so we come back from commercial break on this episode, and they have the slate up there about this next segment has the conversations around domestic violence and stuff. So, how does that go about,
Well, so they get into the dinner portion and they're talking, and Brooklyn talks about, how she, was definitely looking, because like he talks about how his parents, are a role model to him, and because she says like, my grandparents, because she's like, I definitely don't want to find someone like my dad. And then she's like, but except I did for however many years, and I dated them, and it was just like, I didn't know who I was for a certain amount of years, because there was a lot of, emotional manipulation, emotional abuse, and like then it did get physical. And I was like, woof. Girl is getting into the deep and the dirty with all the bad stuff that happened. So, which, I feel like Zach handled it pretty well. He seemed to like be able to comfort her and let her feel safe to like talk about it. And I feel like she talked about what she wanted to say, and like how, what it meant to her to feel like he, cared about her in this date, and like doing something that was like important to her, and like things like that. So I thought it was handled pretty well, for what it was.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed to bring him closer to her.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that it made it strengthened their relationship. That's for sure. And she ends up getting a rose.
Right.
Yeah. He's just giving out roses this episode. But yeah, I mean, so that ends up happening. That leaves us to the cocktail party, right?
Yeah. Cocktail party, rose ceremony. So cocktail party, there's still some tensions about the whole Anastasia stuff, like Kylee stuff. Kylie's feeling like pretty like on edge, worrying once again about like, what if something, what if this is the wrong move? What if I did whatever? Like people are, getting their time in. He's talking to Katie. He's talking to whoever. He
pulls Anastasia first, right?
No.
I thought that was like the way that started.
I felt like it didn't. Did it start
That's
that
because
way?
they said, like, they were like, it sucks that we have to start this off like on this, but maybe it's a good idea because, we can just confront it head on. And that's when he talks to her and she ends up, leaving.
He walks her right out the door.
Yeah,
She does a little wave, bye guys, and
I thought
they
she
go.
might have stayed. I don't know what happened in that conversation. They never really show like the wrap up of the conversation. Like,
No, it just, they really didn't. It was very surprising because I thought it could just go either way, that he was just going to bring her back to the group and, that it was just going to be like whatever.
Yeah. And that's when Kylee starts freaking out, is when he walks her out the house and stuff. And she's like, oh, like she feels bad. Like that's the reason why she's getting sent home.
I have to say, none of the other girls feel bad about it.
No, dude, you're gonna hottie out this house, like,
A lot of the other girls are all like, no, he had to know about what she said. Like, seems like all the girls were backing Kylee up in this situation, which I found interesting. Like, because she was freaking out because she thought, that was gonna be like the nail in the coffin for her as well, because I think she was worried about, like, obviously he has like a very strict policy on drama, and she's all like, is he gonna look at me as like the shit stirrer in this situation? So is that why I'm gonna be out? And like, so she even goes and freaks out with one of the other girls, and like,
I can
almost is
understand that
acting like
mentality because like it was shit stirring. Like, this had really nothing to do with her situation and stuff. Like, she just felt like she had to get it out there. Like, it was like,
yeah, she tried to weave it together, like being all like,
she did it well. She did it well.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and I have to give it, like, the other girls definitely vibed with her on this one, so she lives to see another day. I don't think Kylee is malicious in this situation. I don't think Stassi is inherently malicious either, so sucks to suck.
I mean, if I was one of the other girls, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, she just, it was her day. And we got another hottie out this house. Like, it's just like, we don't, like, the less hotties, the better for whoever's remaining. So, yeah, I mean, so she ends up going. Another one of my faves gone. But yeah, so, Kylie's kind of like worried that, she's like, I just want to get my chance to, get to talk to him. And then that's when the producer like, send Jesse and Jesse and that cocktail party. And he tells them that they won't have any more time. So she doesn't really get a moment. She really freaks out and she's like, I'm going home. Like, I can't stand up there and not get a rose and stuff, which is lame. Like, it's like, dude, that's what you signed up for. Like, you're going to be that much of a loser to like leave the game before like even knowing, like,
which thank God she didn't, but yeah.
But who ends up, so at the rose ceremony, they really make it dramatic to the last. There's still people there that like I didn't really know were there.
Yeah.
The one girl though, it was pretty surprising because it seemed like she had a good moment with Zach. What was that?
Oh, Davia?
Yeah, is that the girl that like ended up kissing Zach and stuff? Like,
I mean, that's hard to know because they all kissed him.
Well, there was the one girl. There was a white girl and a black girl. Those are the two girls that went home. The white girl had a kiss with Zach, obviously it's like it just sucks. Like to
it was
have
Davia
a moment.
and Genevieve, who don't get roses.
Yeah.
And Genevieve just got out of her little sling, so we don't even know what happened to her. She just goes home without us knowing how she got her injury and how it healed.
Yeah. Sometimes you get eliminated for, having too much of an injury. You can't go on to keep competing.
Not why she got eliminated.
I know that's not the challenge, but yeah. So I mean, it's another episode where he's just like, for lack of a better term, like trimming the fat, like,
Yep.
Really narrowing it down to some. And another thing that like was kind of like brought up in this episode was the fact that he, like, it's noticeable to the girls that he has his favorites.
Which I don't know if I can. I mean, he likes Katie. He likes Kat. I don't really know who else is a favorite right now.
I mean, it's probably most of the girls that have been on one-on-one dates. I don't know if it's jealousy of the fact that like they've had that time, or there's just stuff that we're not seeing on the dates where he's just like really seems to gravitate towards some of these other women.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that seems to be something in the house that kind of like, so, even with Kylee, it was nice to see her be like, in the sense, confident in the fact that like at least they're progressing in the relationship, even if it's slower than others.
Right.
So Kylee does live to see another day. It looks like they're going to the UK next episode.
They're going to London.
Yeah, so I don't know, like what do you think?
It looks like something big gets, like big bad news gets given out, where then we get like a weird moment of Zach crying, saying that the week was robbed. So I don't know if like something bad happens.
Did I see Anastasia pop up again?
I don't know.
I kind of thought I saw her pop up or something. Maybe that's not it. But yes, I mean, it looked like he was like on webcam or something. Like,
yeah, it was like a weird like camera that was set up. I don't know.
I mean, it could have been something like, what do you do if you're the Bachelor and like you have like a death in the family, saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wonder if it's something bad like that.
I mean, I have no idea what it is, but I don't know. Sometimes like when it's not like, sometimes they could be reaching, for us to watch the next episode.
I know, because I'm going to be honest, this episode like was kind of slow.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, you watch it with like commercials and all that?
I do.
Yeah, no. I was just like fast forwarding through all
I know,
that.
I actually watched it like on time this week, so I couldn't fast forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this would have been a good week to not be on time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing your due diligence. But yeah, I mean, what else that's pretty much it. I guess we'll have to look forward to seeing what happens in the UK, in London, for Zach and the women. But what else is going on in Bachelor Nation this week?
Clayton is coming out with a book, I guess. It's called 180 Degrees. It's his mental health and body image journey. And how he dealt with his quick rise to fame. So, good on Clayton. Speaking of Clayton, one of his exes, Rachel, I guess, is looking to get a boob reduction and said it might be life-changing for her. I have several friends who have gotten boob reductions, and they have loved it. So, I mean, hopefully best wishes to her with that as well. And then we'll get to more on Nick a little bit later, but Nick and Caitlin, I guess, have both come out saying that they're not inviting the other to, their own weddings, which I guess Caitlin's little petty reply to that was all like, well, I read in Nick's book that, you're not supposed to reach out to exes. So, that's...
Wait, what do you mean? Like they're not going to be inviting exes?
No, Nick is not going to invite Caitlin Bristow to his wedding, and Caitlin's not going to invite Nick Viall to her wedding. Yeah. And his book talks about not reaching out to exes. The title of his book is like, don't text your ex happy birthday.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously have had like a little beef, their podcasts outside of the Bachelor podcast, I feel like are the most popular ones, They are. So they obviously compete for guests and all that stuff. And, Nick just seems more polarizing in his style as far as podcasting. Kaylin seems to find herself in situations too, which is, I think she tries not to, but she just seems to land in them sometimes. But yeah, I mean, good for them. Anything else? I was looking forward to hearing at least like about Victoria Fuller's podcast. It was supposed to drop today, Valentine's Day, but I haven't seen it pop up. I wonder if there's like an issue with it or something. Sometimes.
Did you subscribe to it?
No, but I've been like kind of just seeing like she was like released tomorrow, and I was kind of looking at stuff today, and it didn't seem like it had been gone live yet. Like, does someone not announce their podcast going to go on a date and then release it late in the day or something? I don't think that really is how it works. But you know, when it comes to these Bachelor, you know, people that are in Bachelor Nation, sometimes the brand might put a stop on something, you know. But we'll just have to see. I guess we'll kind of give an update next week on, you know, if it did come out or whatever. But yeah, is that pretty much it?
Yep.
Cool. Well, guys, you know, what do you think? In the comments below, let us know what, you know, did you want to see Anastasia stay? Are we saying her name right? You know,
I have no idea.
Tell us in the comments. Like, how do you even tell us like how to say that in the comments? I don't know.
You
but
give
try.
us the phonetic spelling.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that.
I had to do that for like high school graduation.
Nice. Well, are you allergic to shellfish? Like, and if you are, do you not kiss people?
Is it as severe that you can't kiss somebody?
Right. I need to know that.
Like I was seeing someone for a brief amount of time that was really allergic to peanuts, and like I couldn't eat anything with peanut butter in it. And I knew that person wouldn't be for me because I love peanut butter.
Wow. Well, you guys didn't go together like peanut butter and jelly, you know?
Nope, we could not because it would put them in the hospital. So.
Yeah, you know, do you think Zach is a snack? You know.
Do you think there should be more? Are you team no more shower scenes like me?
Yeah. Have you had a breast reduction? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below, you know. You know, and you know, give us a follow and a thumbs up.
These questions are getting out of hand.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm just looking through our notes and they're just like popping out to me right now. So anyways, guys, we love you, and we'll be back next week when we're in London. So
Future Bachelor Podcast.